And we are live for, I think this is episode 5 of the channel CEO. And so, welcome those that tune in live for the live broadcast, and those that listen to this on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, you name it. Appreciate you listening in, and this is going to be a pretty exciting one. We're continuing our theme of being global here. We had an interview last week. They were over in Europe, and we've got a guest here coming in from Israel this afternoon or this evening. So, with that, we'll I guess unveil the mystery here. But why don't you say hi to our audience and kind of give a brief introduction, background of yourself?
Yes, hi Kevin. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you so much for the invite.
Absolutely.
Um, so, for most of you probably don't know me, my name is Amit. Um, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Perimeter 81. We are a cybersecurity startup based out of Tel Aviv, New York, and LA. We develop a secure corporate network over the internet, as today 5G and fiber are available anywhere, and people are working anywhere, right? Outside the offices, resources are moving to the cloud, and the open internet is the new corporate network. And obviously, firewalls and on-premise appliances, VPNs, are not longer advocate for that new reality. So what we basically do is build, allowing any companies and MSPs specifically to build secured networks over our cloud edge, just as a service. You can think like Office 365 for emails. We do that to firewalls. I am a technologist. What drives me is mostly technology and R&D. I relocated from Israel, Tel Aviv, to the United States last year to be closer to our customers, as we have 2,800 customers, of which most of them are in the US, and hundreds of MSPs that we work with. And the way that we differentiate ourselves in this space that Gartner coined the term SASE, you probably heard about Secure Access Service Edge, which is basically a secured network or as a service. We differentiate ourselves again with simplicity and enterprise-grade product. We raised about almost $160 million to date from leading VCs like Insight Partners and others, growing very rapidly, and excited to be here, Kevin, today and tell more about our journey.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that. I want you to set the stage because you do have one heck of an impressive background, and just the scale at which you guys are operating, and how backed you guys are. I don't know if that actually sounded proper, but how backed by some impressive folks. So it's really great to have you. So we're gonna take a journey backward, right? Let's go back to I guess your somewhat origin stories, right? So I guess tell us about growing up. We've had some pretty interesting themes over the last 4 or 5 episodes about founders, technical founders, and their origins and schooling. But I guess give us a background of where you grew up, and let's just start from there.
So it's relatively a simple story, so I try to keep it short. I studied back at schools, I was a computer geek. I really liked computers. That was basically in Israel, where I spent most of my time as child. In Israel, there is a compulsory army service, and I joined the intelligence forces in a elite technology unit, which is basically like a large-scale startup, where I think it shaped and helped me a lot, right? Because right after school, you have a professional hands-on experience on things that you haven't imagined. And it's basically a fast track, right? Academy in many different aspects, right? Professional, personal. And after 4 years, I finished my army service. Some of it was also paid service. I went to study computer science at Tel Aviv University, where I met my co-founder Sagi. While I studied computer science at Tel Aviv University, I worked for large corporations, as well as my co-founder. He worked for Siemens. I worked for IBM. Everybody have heard about, right? So I had that American corporate experience, which I've learned a lot. It's very much different than the startup mentality, right? Where this in the army we have had. And back then, I decided, together with Sagi, that I met at the university, to leave our corporate jobs and start the entrepreneurship journey, right? In the past, every Jewish mother wanted their child to be a doctor. Now it's entrepreneur. So we've founded a company named Safer VPN, which was a consumer VPN company, which we bootstrapped. We didn't raise capital. We ended up selling it to J2 Global, a public company in the States, and started Perimeter 81 right after. Perimeter 81 was, instead, to consumers, to businesses, allowing them to build secure networks over the internet without installing any appliances. And that was back in 2018, before COVID started, right? 2020, COVID started, really gave us a big push. Lots of demand, lots of maturity. And there we are today. And today we have about 2,800 businesses. We raised $160 million at $1 billion valuation in our last round. 260 employees, divided between Israel and the US. And continuing to grow. I think that the opportunity is still much ahead of us, as it's a revolution. It's not evolution in the way that we all consume internet and security. I'm a big believer that the MSP, right, space have a big part of it. As today, not only companies are moving away from on-premise appliances to cloud-based solutions at Perimeter 81, they lack the expertise and the know-how how to manage it, install it, and so forth, and are adapting. And we all see that, right? And you will see that the increasing demand of managed services. And we try to align with both of these tailwinds, right? From one end, build an enterprise grade and an easy to use solution, right?
Yeah.
In the space of allowing companies to build their secure corporate networks over the internet, but also be MSP focused and provide all the product requirements and the business requirements, right? MSP's needs in order to manage multiple accounts under single tenant, right? Multi-tenant. Very attractive pricing schedules that can generate still 60% or even more gross margins. The time to value is very quick. So we always ask our MSPs and partners, what do you like the most, right? They can very quickly generate impact, positive impact, regardless whether new subscriptions they sell or manage, or a positive impact on their customers in order to make them more secure and available anywhere. Very quickly, even in a matter of minutes.
Wow, that's definitely key. I mean, so you've had, this is your second, high growth, organization. I guess what's different about this? I mean, started in 2018, and then to have the disruption, which based on your solution, probably ended up being a very good thing, as you mentioned, right? Probably forced you to grow up pretty quick, and you had that under your belt from the last go round. But what's different about this, from an entrepreneurial standpoint versus the last company?
Many things different. The biggest difference is the state of mind, where now we are VC backed, right? We can be much more aggressive in the go-to-market, in the R&D, in the development, everything that we do. Previous company was bootstrapping, so every shekel or dollar that we have, and we thought 5 times where to invest it. And I think the fact that we came with that mentality to Point 81 helped us a lot, because we were very scrappy in matter of expenses, how to build an healthy organization that can scale, that can be very capital efficient, specifically in this timing today, right? Where last year, for cybersecurity startup that generates sales and revenue and growing, it was very easy to raise capital, right? And now things have changed, and it's always we try to be as modest as we can.
Yeah. What you said, the military training is compulsory, in Israel. What did you take away from that training? Was it the structure? Was it teamwork? I mean, and what did that help prepare you for taking a step off the ledge and into the startup world?
I think it's ownership and empowerment. Like very early, you get a lot of responsibilities. Sometimes your life of people are depending on you, right? And for you as 18, 19, 20 years old, to have such a great responsibility, right, is mind-blowing. And I think it contributes, in fact, of increasing ownership, right? And the way how you can multiply your team's impact, right? By pushing them over the limit, generate more accountability, right? And ownership, which is very, very critical.
So you ever thought about writing a book about your experience, from that journey? Yeah.
First of all, I need to start reading books. Then I can...
No, look, I mean, I think a lot of entrepreneurs in this, I think this is just cross culture. I don't think it's just a kind of a U.S. or North American or European or APAC or what have you. But a lot of entrepreneurs are classified as all over the place. I wouldn't use the phrase ADD or whatever, but a lot of them lack structure. But then, something like the military, which I was not a part of. I was in the States we call it a military brat, child of somebody served in the military. But you're taught structure, you're taught responsibility and teamwork and stuff like that. And in a lot of ways, that matures entrepreneurs pretty darn quick. But I also think a lot of people end up having that kind of structure, and it's hard for them to go back to something unstructured like entrepreneurship, right? Because they're used to having structure, and a lot of them are used to being told what to do and where to do it, how to do it. So I think it's interesting anytime I talk to an entrepreneur or somebody from the military background, because some make it extraordinarily well and some don't, just because of that kind of a dichotomy. But so you mentioned your co-founder, and you guys were I guess prior to the first startup, first company, you guys were in pretty cush, large organizations, and then you guys had the spark one day to say, "Hey, let's go out and start this thing." And how did that come about? Was it just that organic, or was it planned, or how'd that come about?
I think, look, it's all about the point of time in your life, right? And I had no risks, right? I didn't have any family. Today I have a 4.5 years old boy and a wife. So, and back then I was single, right? And not many commitments. And I, I tell you, right, it has some kind, you always want to try and jump right into the water and to work on something your own. I can tell you that I started with a few applications, right, apps. Most of like few of them didn't succeed until we really started Safer VPN and picked up. And I had a 2 year window, let's say, right, to try and get something to work, and we've managed to do so. And it's a lot of luck, right? Luck and not luck, right? Because the life is an entrepreneur, or at least at the early stages, and it's hard, right? You don't have salary, and you work day and night. But it develops your personal and professional skills forward, which I enjoy. Right? Sometimes I wish like we wouldn't grow so quick. Sometimes it's a roller coaster, right? To wake up in the morning, we're going to bankrupt, and the evening we're a unicorn. So it's very ups and downs, but it's fun. Problems always change and develop. Some problems becoming easier, some problems becoming harder. I think that along the way I was very always pessimistic on the short term and very optimistic on the long term, right? As you know, that the direction, after you reiterate it with your customers, you understand that that's how it's going to be. And sometimes you need a lot of patience. And most importantly, is the team. So to build a team around you and to work with them side by side.
Yeah. So what's you've had tremendous success, right? And you've mentioned getting lucky, but I do believe in just what you said, right? You kind of make your luck. You put in your hours. You're dogged about every detail, and I like the idea of being pessimistic in the short term, and but still having a kind of a broader optimism about the future. But I guess along this path, and what is there? Maybe just take it with Perimeter. Is there what you are today? I mean, is what you expected it to be? When you started in 2018. Is it
No.
no? What's different?
Everything is different. Like you imagine something, and not necessarily it is what you imagine. You have the vision; it's fulfilling, right? I didn't think that will get so that far, and every time you get it, and then there is another ceiling. It will never end, right? In some regards. But it's fulfilling your what you sell. You develop yourself. I grow myself, right, as a person and also as a professional, a lot. Every day is different, right? all the time you have different problems or different issues to deal with, and but eventually it puts you in perspective, and enjoy it a lot.
Have you developed any habits along the way, or do you have like any particular routines that you follow throughout the day? I mean, you have a certain time that you wake up and certain breakfast food that you have to have. Any quirky entrepreneurial things like that?
My only routine is that my son Yoav wakes up at 6 a.m. and calling, Daddy, put me TV. Or at the same time, every day, every morning. Except of that, everything is super dynamic and very, very things are changing every day, and I like it. Like I really like it.
Awesome. So what's because maybe pick your brain here. This is very interesting times, right? Just macroeconomic speaking and just security speaking, right? It's just always being on your toes. I mean, try to give some nuggets to the audience, to the MSPs in particular. What's one thing you think an MSP needs to really focus on over the next 3 to 5 years to be successful?
Good question. So obviously now the macroeconomics are a bit shaky, but it's opportunity, right? To do some improvements in many areas and not to run like crazy forward, but think what I'm missing, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely security is something that will continue to grow significantly. Companies are lacking IT and security professionals. So if you can develop, right, expertise around security, right, there's going to be a great demand, and there's a great demand. Not necessarily today, because maybe companies are a little bit cutting in expenses and more careful, but it's a great time to learn, to adapt new solutions, to like Print 31, right? Join, for example, our partner program. We will walk you through it and do the certification and be ready, right, with set of tools in order to not focusing on IT enablement, but also on the security side, which is critical, and be an integrated part of the managed services in the future, and that is guaranteed. I think there is a consensus about that. So why not utilize this period, right? That is a bit more perhaps challenging with acquiring new businesses, although we do see that continue to focus on that, adapting new solutions, develop your expertise, and to be ready, right, once the markets wake up. It is important to stress that security was the least affected area, and every company needs security. They cannot push it too much. And that's also opportunity. Instead of hiring more headcount, they tend to outsource and go to partner with service providers. So it's a great opportunity all around to double down in this period on security and develop the security expertise within any MSP, small, medium, and large.
I agree 100%. 100%. So with that, how can people find you? How they can find the company? Their website, their social media. I mean, what's the best way to connect with you and the company?
So the best way to connect with us is go to our website. We have a chat. We have a dedicated portal and contact form and all the materials for our partners program. And we really much MSP focused. Like MSP is one of our top 3 strategic items, right? This year or next year. And we have a comprehensive team that supports and works through hand by hand through the journey. We don't see that as only one engagement, but rather than a long-lasting partnership that we invest a lot of resources into. So the best way is to generate a conversation, right, with us and contact us, leaving your details, and we'll make sure to follow up and be walk you through all the different parts of the program, which is very, very exciting in my opinion, worth to look at any case.
You guys have done some amazing things, and I think just obviously the backing and the scale, the growth that you guys have had over the last couple of years is really a testament to your leadership. And there's again, talk about this concept of luck and making your luck, but maybe luck is on your side, just timing of the marketplace, and it's unfortunate, obviously, the COVID and everything, but there's always, as even in recessions, down markets, and just things in general, there's always silver linings. And it sounds like you guys have punched through and done, a phenomenal job. And so I think everyone should go out, check out the site, and you guys have a world-class partner program. So that's just awesome to hear that you're investing so much into this space. So good on you for that. And so, I want to be mindful of your time, being, at the very end of the day there for you, but really appreciate you spending some time with me today, and sure the audience as we send this out, and we'll do the replays. We'll post it up on the channelprogram.com site as well, and try to spread the message of what you guys are doing, all the great things. And so with that, I want to thank you for joining me here this afternoon, and look forward to hopefully meeting you here sometime in the near term stateside.
Absolutely, Kevin. I'm on my way back at the end of this week, and I really appreciate the time and hosting me in this live webinar. And I hope that the viewers and the channel partner members have gained any positive impact out of it, and be happy to expand the conversation in person with any one of you. Simply reach out and ask to talk with me, and be happy to do it.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thanks again. I'll end the broadcast here, and see you guys soon.
Thank you so much.